Welcome to our annual local church conference, and I am so excited to be here and to cast vision and to talk about this last year. This has been an unusual year, and you guys can all attest to that, filled with unexpected turns, celebration, and heartache. We've done new things this year. We've had to adapt while running full stream. If you want to follow along with me, I'm on page 3, and it helps you read along. I might ad-lib here and there. But I always put in there the numbers so you can know what's happened this year and where we're going and what to look forward to. But this last year, we averaged 88 in attendance, which is down by 16% over the year before. But on a side note, we've really gone online, and we have averaged 95 in online attendance. Epic has averaged 18. Children's Church has averaged 14. And our tithes and offerings over all of this has increased by 39%. Yeah, go ahead and clap for that one. It was so scary when COVID first came out, and the Wesleyan Church is messaging us pastors and saying, hey, we want you to be prepared. Things are going to get tough. Things are going to get tight. And Terry and I had a conversation of all the how we were going to freeze things and make sure that we had money to survive as a church. And we never had to freeze. In fact, we were able to do extra stuff. And I just talked with the Dr. and Reverend Smith this afternoon, and he talked about new things that we can do, and I'm excited about our partnership with the district and what we can see through that. To put our attendance numbers in perspective, in March I attended a leadership conference with Dan Ryland. He's the executive pastor at 12 Stone Church just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and he told us that the national on-site attendance post-COVID was 30%. He said, if you're running 50%, you're hitting it out of the park. I turned to my friend Kyle, who was sitting next to me, and I said, wow, we're at 73%. And we were at 73%, and I was feeling really bad about our numbers and praying and asking God, what do we need to do? And as you can tell as I write this, we are sitting at 84% of what our post-COVID numbers were, our pre-COVID numbers were. And so what he told us at that leadership conference is set a new mark. This is your new mark, and grow from here. And so we can't say, hey, we were running 108 before COVID, and we were actually running close to 120 because we were on the upswing, and now we're at 88. But again, we're on the upswing. We averaged 94 in May. We averaged 117 in March, and we're on an upswing, and 117 in April. We're on an upswing. But we want to keep that momentum going and keep looking for what God has called us to do. So things got a little bit altered last year. We had to cancel youth camp, but Pastor Kenneth, a.k.a. PK, put on his first annual youth retreat, The Amazing Race. It was great. Sean Harkins cooked meals for us. Jennifer Ball made treats, and Epic was able to reclaim some of what was lost. In December, we had the Children's Christmas program, an out-of-the-box Christmas. Thank you, PK, for directing and producing our program this year. Thank you, Connect Kids and Epic, for making it spectacular. We had 106 for our Christmas program, which was an amazing attendance with everything that was starting to happen. On December 17th, I got a phone call from Dr. Patel at Alliance Health Center. He told me that Gary wasn't going to make it. I gave him Gary's son's phone number, and he gave me special permission to come up to the hospital and pray with Gary and sing very poorly to him and say goodbye. Margaret passed away in January of 2020. After she passed, Gary's and my relationship changed. It changed from me being his pastor to me being his son. I cherish the last 11 months that we had together. I don't feel that COVID stole Gary from us. I know that he desperately wanted to go home, to be with Jesus, and to be with Margaret. Because of COVID, we had to change our Christmas Eve service. Thank you so much, Carla and Terry, for making it happen. Afterwards, we drove to the hospital and prayed for Mike and lit our candles, and we found out later we were praying and singing at the wrong window. January was a difficult month. We had 3 persons die in 4 days. I was a wreck for the first week of January, and it felt like I spent the entire month just trying to survive. I mourned with Jimmy and Krista after losing her sister. I mourned with Allie's family on the morning of January 7th. And on the morning of January 7th, I woke up at 4, and God impressed on me that this was the day to say goodbye to Mike. On January 7th, I had Allie's funeral. I went over to Jimmy and Krista's home to talk about Kelly's funeral, which was the next day. And while there, I received the phone call that Mike had gone home to see Jesus. On January 7th, I came home from Allie's funeral, and I laid on our bedroom floor, and Terry had COVID at the time. And I just cried and said, I can't do it anymore. And I begged for a miracle. I went back and rewatched the worship service from January 3rd today, which probably didn't help me out any. But to watch Kenneth and April and Ashley minister to us in the midst of everything that they were going through, it was unbelievably rich. And Kenneth said something so very profound. He told us that God's in control. I love Mike, and I know that he loved me. He knew that I wanted to take care of people, and he knew that I wanted to take care of his family. I remember Mike coming up to me last year and saying, Pastor, I'm praying for you. I've never prayed for Ash the way I pray for you. Mike and Wendy, I want you to know that every single day during his hospital stay, I prayed for Mike. Connectors, I want you to know that you're not just cogs in the wheel to me. You're important to me, and I love you. You're irreplaceable. You're God's gift to me. Several years ago, I prayed to God, send me people, and if you do, I wouldn't complain about the work that came with it. You are a gift from God. Thank God for Easter, right? It's about the resurrection. It's about so much more. This Easter, we had 174 in attendance. So many people stepped up to make Easter special. Thank you, Connectors. This truly is a special place. On Easter, we had 15 in the nursery, 48 in children's church. And can I give a quick shout out to PK, who stepped forward, and most youth pastors want nothing to do with kids. And PK has stepped forward, and he has led it valiantly. He's got a curriculum in there. He's done so much. We continue to encourage people to jump into the Transformer track, and later this year, you'll hear more about how we're going to use it in our discipleship pathway. I want to thank Tana Scantlin for jumping up and wanting to help develop this pathway. Thank you so much, Tana. We came home from a board meeting in March, and Tana texted me the next day, and she goes, Mark, the staff look tired. How can I help out? And I go, we were just holding on. We were hoping that nobody realized that we were just holding on, but thankfully she did. And she contacted a friend of hers, and she's got ideas, and she says, we want to do a whole great wave of discipleship and developing people and changing lives. And you're going to hear a little bit more about that, because that's at the heart of the Wesleyan revival. That's at the heart of the Wesleyan movement, and I'm going to share a little bit about that here in a moment. This year, we're going to be more intentional about our leadership pipeline. We stepped toes in it last year. We did a little bit of it last year, but we want to do more this year, just to cast vision, just to ask God to pour out His Spirit on us. Not only do we have a leadership team that helps us to chart our direction, but I'm recruiting others to join our dream team. This is a team that prays and helps us cast vision. I want to continue to invite to join me on the last Wednesday night of the month to become the best possible life-transforming church that we can become. Our leadership team is also going to be discussing this as well. But on the last Wednesday, we call this Amplified Leadership. This year, we're excited to hire Ashley Logan on full-time. She will be our office administrator and worship pastor. She will take a lot off my plate so I can focus more on growing and helping Connect reach more people. Dr. Devin Smith, our district superintendent, and I have discussed how I'm going to lead us to the next level in the investment I'm going to make to help get us there. And I'll talk a little bit more about that investment in a moment. During our vacation, I read the book Marks of a Movement. It's about the Wesleyan revival that gave birth to the Methodist Church and grandfathered the Wesleyan Church. There are 6 things about a movement that I'm praying God will give to us. 1, it has changed lives. We pray that lives will be changed, that people come to faith in Jesus Christ, that it will just completely change their lives. Movements begin as people's lives are changed by a fresh encounter with the living God. It has a contagious faith. Movements become contagious when ordinary people share their faith with others. The Holy Spirit was welcome and active. Movements emphasize the person and the work of the Holy Spirit in people's lives. It is a dynamic discipleship system. Movements develop systems for discipleship and spiritual growth. Everyone who was saved at a Wesley event was put into a group for discipleship, and this led them to the next area. And I want you to know this is the heart of the Wesleyan movement. When people became followers of Jesus Christ, John Wesley put them in a structure, in a class, in a group, and they developed them and they grew them. And out of this group, it didn't matter if you were male, female, black, white, it did not matter. You had the opportunity to become a lay pastor, to get on a horse and ride around and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. It had an apostolic leadership about it. And this is what I want to develop, that no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, how young you are called by God. God has called you and God has empowered you to be used. Movements have an apostolic impulse drawn from the models and methods of the early church that empowers and mobilizes all of God's people for mission. Methodism has been referred to as the lay apostolic movement with the Church of England, which alludes to the recovery of ministry for every Christian believer, not just the ordained leadership. Get this. The Church of England did not like John Wesley. They kept uninviting him to their churches. They kept telling him to go away and leave them alone. And the reason is he believed that every person could be used by God. And they kept saying, well, you can't preach here. You can't preach here. And it didn't matter. He said, everyone's going to be used by God. John Wesley personally worked to empower thousands of laity, many who later became leaders of the movement. It had an organic multiplication. Movements have an outward missional focus that naturally lead to multiplication of disciples and new communities of faith. Get this. John Wesley said this: "It is not our business to preach so many times and to take care of this or that society, but to save as many souls as you can, to bring as many sinners as you can to repentance, and with all of your power to build them up in that holiness without which they cannot see the Lord. Our mission is to guide people toward holiness." Every Christian revival movement begins with a follower of Christ making a radical commitment to follow Jesus. If we are to have any hope of a revival movement in our day, it begins with the ordinary believers having a fresh encounter with the living Christ. Steve Addison said, "History is made by men and women who have met the living God." Upon departing to engage in the mission work in America, Thomas Coke asked John Wesley what message should be proclaimed. Wesley responded, "Offer them Christ." He would later elaborate by emphasizing the importance of going to those in the greatest need. You have nothing to do but save souls. Therefore, spend and be spent in this work, and not only to those that need you, but to those that need you most. We have nothing else to do. Our nation is in desperate need of revival. Our churches have grown cold. They are chasing symptoms instead of the cure. We need fire to fall from heaven and consume us. So where do we go from here? Prayer. Ask the Lord of the harvest to send us out in the harvest fields where people are. Imagine if this year every connector brought one new person to church. Last quarter, March, April, May, we averaged 94. That would mean next year we would be running 188. Bring us the names of people you're praying for. Write them down. Put them in. I've got a group of people around me, and we're praying for unsaved people to find Jesus, and we're praying for revival to break out. Bring them to us, and we will pray over them. And when they get saved and they get baptized, we will have them hold up their card and say, "People were praying for me, and I am being baptized, and my life was changed because Connect Church was praying for me." We're going to be praying for them weekly. We're going to be praying for that they come to know Jesus Christ. This coming year, I'm going to start a weekly podcast. It will be teaching and discipleship. If you have something that you want to learn more about, send it to me, and it might end in a podcast. So we just went out and reserved rights. We have our own podcast, and so we put our sermons out there, but this year we're also wanting to add to that a discipleship format, and it's not necessarily always going to be me talking. Sometimes you'll get a teaching from Kenneth, you might get a teaching from April, you might get something else, but it's about helping us go deeper. I'm trying to, Dr. Devin Smith has told me that he wants to see me raise our voice. I'm trying to develop a blog site so I can write and reach people in that way. And if you wonder about me writing, I'm not a very good writer. And so that's going to be a stretch. I'm willing to work on it. I'm willing to raise our voice. I'm willing to raise our influence. There are so many lies out there that we need to get the truth out. So many times when you tell people that we're Bible-believing people, they think, oh yeah, you hate this group or you hate that group. No, it's not that way. Now get this, we just believe that when Jesus Christ saves you, as it says in 2 Corinthians 5:17, we become a new creation. We want people to experience that freedom. That's what our goal is. God has opened the door to the promised land. We are standing in it. But he doesn't just want us to survive here. God is calling for us to thrive. It's going to take commitment, work, risk, and prayer. I have several people pray for me and speak into my life over the last 6 to 8 months, each giving me the same word from God. Get ready. God's getting ready to blow off the lid. When we talk about our commitment, it's going to take our church stepping up to the plate and being a tithing church. Tithing is more than spiritual growth and finance. Are we going to put God first? When a person commits to tithing, God blesses their life. It's going to take us returning God's resources to Him so that we can inherit the promised land. Another aspect of commitment is getting involved in ministry. We currently have great people involved in ministry at Connect Church, and I will go through and thank them later, and not by name, but by groups, because we have so many amazing people that are serving God. They help in children's church. They help at Vacation Bible School. They take care of the grounds and ground maintenance. They're on outreach. They're in security. They teach Sunday school. They are involved in prayer. They're involved in follow-up. If you want to find a way to get involved, contact Pastor April and say, use me, and she will put you to work. God is calling us to be strong and courageous. In Joshua chapter 1, verses 6 through 9, God says, be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore their forefathers to give them. Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from the right or to the left, that you may be on it day and night, that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. The emphasis on this, of course, is mine. It's easy for us to take it easy and look at how far we've come, but that would be cheating God, and I don't want to cheat God and have Him ask me why I cheated Him. Our mission is simple. Connect to a loving God, connect to other people, and connect to an abundant life. Our core values guide us, reaching lost people, creating transformational moments, and building a next generation church. There are new builds going up in our neighborhood. To go along with it being one of the most unreached neighborhoods in our city, the gold is waiting to be mined. Connect Church can make a difference in Ponca City for generations to come, with everyone using their gifts and passions. This year we need to develop people. We're going to model what a Christ follower and leader looks like by modeling growth. We're going to mentor new Christ followers and leaders in our church, and we're going to multiply and take the harvest for Jesus. Here are the big Sundays we have outlined for this year. September 19th is National Back to Church Sunday, and we're looking forward for a great day that day. In July, just running around the corner, we have Vacation Bible School. It is the last full week in July, and we're excited that we're able to have people here. Last year, we changed on the fly and went to to a virtual VBS, but we're excited to have kids back on campus. In November 7th, we're going to have our family Thanksgiving feast. Last year, we didn't do any dinners. Actually, this is the first dinner we've done in a year and a half. And so we're excited to invite people in and enjoy Thanksgiving with us. Our children's Christmas program this year is going to be on December 19th. Football Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, February 6th, a great time to wear your jerseys and be inspired. And Easter this year is on April 17th. And then Mother's Day is on May 8th. So husbands, children, you can start, you already know when Mother's Day is, start shopping for that now. Follow your mom around the notepad, take notes of what she likes, take notes of what she doesn't. These are going to be the events that we want to invite our friends, relatives, neighbors, and acquaintances to join you and find true connection in Jesus. If I try to thank everybody, I will forget somebody. But I want to thank our teams that are leading us to greatness. I want to thank our First Impression team. People feel the presence of God when they come here and they connect because of something, the way you treated them, the way you act. Our audiovisual team, which has increased this year because now we live stream our worship services. Our worship band, our nursery team, our epic team, every connector for making Connect Church truly an amazing place to be on Sundays. Our church board has been truly amazing this year. It helped me more than words can say. With the influx of new people and more being demanded of my time, every single board member stepped up at some point to carry the load. I want to thank the most important people in my life, Terry, Jack, and Lance. Terry contacts every first-time guest. She plans our vacations and refreshing getaways. Terry is fun and exciting to be around, and you make our family great. I had something funny to say, but I'm not going to say it. I just show up. That's what I do in the family. I just show up. Jack, I love watching you grow. You love Connect Church so much. You tell your friends how amazing our church is. When you're gone from our church, you want to watch it on Facebook, and you make Connect Church great. Thank you so much, Jack. He's not here tonight, but thank you, Jack. Lance, you are wonderful. Lance didn't want to move to Connect Church. He kept telling us that he was going to personally buy the other building back and kick the Hispanic church out of there, and we were going to move back over there. Connect Church is now Lance's home. And I can't believe he's now an epic. He's almost as tall as me now. And this is what he said. We were driving the car Monday or Tuesday this week. And this is his first Sunday to sit up. I mean, he sat in a new section. He sat with the youth. He sat through the worship service. And this is what he said to me. He goes, "Dad, do you preach as well as Kenneth?" I said, "I don't, buddy. I'm sorry." But Lance, you have grown so much this year, and I truly love you, buddy. Next year is going to be a great year here at Connect Church. Thank you so very much, Pastor Mark. For those of you who've been following us online, this is the end of our online presentation. We wanted to share the future of the local church address with you. We love you guys. You couldn't be with us in person. Thank you so much for joining us and watching us. And you guys have a great